Sports.
Sharon Osbourne, Bernie Mac, and Playboy tryouts next. BT.
A flicker of hope in the Middle East. The Israelis end the Ramallah siege amid new U.S.-Saudi pressure on Israel. But a firefight and a fire break out at the Church of the Nativity. Lessons of 9/11. How the Twin Towers collapsed. The death toll could have been a whole lot higher. A city with a dubious distinction. You're looking at the city right through the distinction. And Eye on America. Forget termites. Wait till you see what took over their home.
This is the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather reporting from CBS News headquarters in New York.
Good evening. For the first time in many months, there were some hints of hope today in the Middle East, thanks to an emerging plan of cooperation between the United States and Saudi Arabia for applying more pressure. The first apparent result, the end of the Israeli siege in the town of Ramallah, with Palestinian leader Yasser Arafat now free after more than a month as a captive in his own headquarters. But tonight there was a new eruption of fighting in Bethlehem, threatening one of Christianity's holiest sites. CBS's Tom Fenton joins us with the latest. Tom?
Dan, the fire broke out in the compound of the Church of the Nativity in Bethlehem tonight, apparently during an exchange of gunfire between Israeli soldiers and Palestinians. There were also sounds of explosions, but it's not yet clear who or what started the fire. A number of Palestinians have been holed up in the church for weeks under an Israeli siege. This dramatic late development follows a major breakthrough earlier this evening in another West Bank city, Ramallah. The end of the siege in Ramallah followed a carefully choreographed script. At nightfall, a convoy of American and British vehicles rolled through deserted streets carrying 6 Palestinian prisoners wanted by Israel. Their destination was a Palestinian prison in Jericho, where their detention will be overseen by American and British wardens under an American brokered deal. That set the stage for Israeli armor and men to begin pulling out of the city they have occupied since the end of March. Palestinians saw it as a victory.
I think it's a happy ending for this season of the Israeli war against the Palestinian people and the President Yasser Arafat.
The Israelis were
I
cautious.
think that now that he has gained his freedom again, he is free to fight terrorism. That is the main objective, I think, today, and everyone around the world should put pressure on him to do exactly that.
At the center of the siege has been the battered compound that is Yasser Arafat's West Bank presidential headquarters. For the past month, the Israeli army has reduced Arafat's world to 2 rooms. Here, he has played the role of resistance leader and used the international spotlight to further his cause. Arafat refused to leave until the Israelis gave up their demands for the 6 wanted men. He is now free to leave, and when he does, it will be a new game for the 75-year-old leader. One of the first things he will have to deal with is the aftermath of the fire tonight in Bethlehem, which he called a crime. The church is one of the holiest shrines in Christianity, and whatever happens there will have worldwide repercussions. Dan?
Tom Fenton reporting live from Tel Aviv. Now more about President Bush's new partnership with the Saudis for leveraging influence and increasing pressure. CBS News Chief White House correspondent John Roberts reports the hope is that this combined approach, that the U.S. is using its influence on Israel and the Saudis helping to press the Palestinians and other Arab nations, can succeed where previous efforts have failed.
The agreement marks a turning point in the search for Mideast peace, bringing the most politically powerful Arab state in from the sidelines.
In areas where we can help, we will help. In areas where the United States can have an impact, it will work to have an impact. There are some areas where we can do it together. There are some areas where we do it separately. But the idea is that this is a partnership.
It is a partnership driven by domestic concerns on both sides. The Saudis are desperately worried that unrest spawned by the lingering conflict is threatening moderate Arab regimes, including its own royal family. President Bush is facing growing pressure among conservatives and on Capitol Hill to show solidarity with Israel, a move that would further enrage Arab nations.
From the president's point of view, he sees the role of the Saudis as constructive and positive, and he's appreciative for that.
Mideast experts say this could be the magic formula to break the deadlock. The Crown Prince's peace proposal was unanimously approved by Arab League states in March. And unlike Egyptian President Hosni Mubarak, who until last week was America's lead partner for peace, Abdullah may deliver not just Arafat, but nations like Syria and Iraq. But it will work, experts say, only if Saudi Arabia can dry up support for terrorists who want to push Israel into the sea.
We've seen in the past that engagement from the outside is all very helpful, but if there isn't a process that stops the violence and terrorism, it will swamp everything else.
The partnership also restores much of the goodwill that two nations enjoyed in the wake of the Gulf War, and it was no surprise to see the former President Bush at Abdullah's side during his official visit last week. But the Saudis say no amount of goodwill can bring peace to the Middle East unless this Bush administration comes up with a plan.
Saudi Arabia is leaning on the White House to present a concrete roadmap for peace without delay. The State Department today said that it would soon pursue a serious and accelerated negotiating process so that people can see hope. Dan?
Live at the White House, John Roberts. One more Middle East development, citing resistance from Israel, United Nations Secretary General Kofi Annan today abandoned his plan to send a fact-finding mission to the Palestinian refugee camp at Jenin in the West Bank. Palestinians say Israeli troops massacred civilians in that camp. Israel strongly denies that, saying there is no evidence supporting the claim. In Afghanistan, U.S. and allied troops are beginning a major new operation along the Pakistani border. Several hundred American, British, and Canadian troops will hunt for al-Qaeda fighters thought to be hiding in the mountains east of coast. A rocket fired from that border area early today landed harmlessly in Miram Shah, a Pakistani town where residents reported seeing some Americans. U.S. commanders denied having troops there. The war against al-Qaeda terrorists began, of course, after the September 11th attack on America, including destruction of the World Trade Center. Engineers have just concluded a study of how and why the Twin Towers collapsed, and they say it's a tribute to their design that they remained standing as long as they did, the towers. CBS's Mika Brzezinski has more about this.
There was damage to the water supply system.
The nation's top civil engineers told a congressional committee today that the impact of the two jumbo jets alone wasn't what ultimately destroyed the World Trade Center towers.
It was the fire that brought them down, because this type of structure either comes down immediately or doesn't come down at all.
Their report concluded that the thousands of pounds of jet fuel ignited a massive fire fed by office furniture and paper. The fireproofing, which was sprayed on to the metal beams and floor trusses, was blown away in the crash, leaving the steel exposed to 2,000-degree heat. The experts made a list of recommendations designed to minimize loss of life in the event of another terror attack. They include stronger adhesive for fireproofing on steel beams, enhanced sprinkler systems, and also so-called hardened stairwells built throughout the building to withstand impact and fire.
This is an American disgrace.
For Sally Reaganhard, the engineer's study is not enough. She wants complete federal control over the investigation.
We must have that legacy so that these beautiful, wonderful people will not have died in vain.
This is his graduation picture.
Reaganhard lost her son Christian, a firefighter, in one of the towers. Since then, she has lobbied for major changes in how the nation builds skyscrapers.
They were betrayed by a system that allows buildings of any size, of any height, to be constructed and let the fire service worry about how to save human life.
Engineers concluded the towers stood up long enough for thousands to escape. And though fire safety improvements could be made for future buildings, ultimately, little can be done to prepare for the unimaginable. Mika Brzezinski, CBS News, New York.
A new study published today finds at least half of all Americans are now exposed to enough air pollution to trigger health damage. It's worst in the West. CBS's Sandra Hughes is there with the breathtaking details.
It may be beautiful, but living in California can be hazardous to your health. A newly released American Lung Association study finds the country's most ozone-polluted areas are all in the Golden State. Los Angeles is the worst.
The air just gets dirtier and dirtier, and it's just very unhealthful.
Breathing ozone pollutants can give healthy people symptoms of burning in the throat and nose, but for the elderly and children, it can be deadly. Researchers at the University of Southern California studied pollution effects on children and found they are 3 times more likely to develop asthma here.
Pollution increases the chances of your getting asthma, and if you've already got asthma, it makes it worse.
Earlier this year, the National Environmental Trust reported that children breathing in Los Angeles air receive a lifetime exposure of dangerous cancer-causing toxins within 2 months of birth.
My kids have allergies that, they didn't have before we moved back here.
It may sound bad, but California officials say it used to be much worse. In fact, after the state implemented the toughest auto emission standards in the country, along with other controls, ozone levels dropped by 2/3 in the past 20 years.
We look over decades to see how are we progressing, and in that area, the state deserves an A grade.
But today's study finds small cities in the West and Midwest have the best air. Part of the problem here in California that no environmental control can counter is, ironically, the very thing many people come here seeking: good weather. Sunshine and heat together make pollution worse. Sandra Hughes, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Well, this could help clear the air. General Motors today unveiled a modified Chevy S10 pickup. It runs on fuel cells that extract hydrogen from gasoline to produce electricity. The vehicle cuts carbon dioxide emissions in half, reportedly gets 40 miles to the gallon, but won't be widely available for several years. Stocks closed mixed today. The second straight triple-digit gain put the Dow back above 10,000. The NASDAQ was down. Coming up next here on the CBS Evening News, Eye on America, toxic molds making homes so dangerous you need a hazmat suit to go inside.
The CBS Evening News and tonight's Eye on America segment are sponsored by today's AARP. Your choice, your voice, your attitude.
You choose to be healthy. You choose to be successful. You choose to give back. You choose to be yourself. The choices you want, the voice you need to make the most out of life. Today's AARP.
At GMAC Real Estate, our agents focus on you, understanding what you want, listening to your needs, and getting you where you want to be. That's why we deliver premier service, a whole new level in customer service. A level so superior you won't think of buying or selling your home with anyone else. GMAC Real Estate. Service you deserve. People you trust.
Bottom of the 12th. Game time.
I should have used Preparation H.
Cool it fast with Preparation H Cooling Gel. Cools on contact for fast relief. Preparation H Cooling Gel. Cools on contact.
Staying regular can be an endless cycle of thick powder fiber drinks.
Try a refreshing change. Pure, natural water with FiberCon caplets.
Just as effective as powders and much easier to take.
FiberCon, refreshingly easier to take.
I'm bubbling over with good news for people who brush their dentures. Brushing can miss odor-causing food particles trapped in crevices. But new Polident has more polyvescent power to scrub out what brushing misses. New Polident for better odor control.
You're just begging for heartburn, aren't you? Here, Norman turned me on to Pepsid Complete.
And?
Complete works fast like those, but lasts like those. Just one controls acid all day. Where are you going?
Sausages, anyone?
Pepsid Complete. Just one, and heartburn's done.
Unsociable host or unbearable allergies? When seasonal allergies keep you from enjoying the things you do, Allegra can help. Only Allegra has fexofenadine, so unlike many other antihistamines, it won't make you drowsy. And Allegra gives you 24-hour relief. For people 12 and older, side effects are low and may include headache, cold, or back pain. Talk to your doctor today about Allegra and get back to your party. Non-drowsy Allegra. Real relief for real living.
Research into the common cold has yielded an uncommon finding. It appears a glass of wine a day, especially red wine, may help prevent colds. Authors of the study say they have no idea why. but they have found stress raises risk for catching colds. You may be aware that mold spore allergies make millions of people sneeze and wheeze. What you may not know is some molds are so toxic they can make life unbearable and homes uninhabitable. It happens to hundreds of Americans a year. CBS's Jim Axelrod looked into it for tonight's Eye on America.
We're going into our apartment, 19C.
If you want to visit Cleo and Thomas Bierenbach's luxury New York City apartment, proper attire is required. Their once picture-perfect high-rise home
This is the living room and the dining area.
is now contaminated and deemed uninhabitable.
This black stuff you see here is all mold.
The only thing currently living here is mold, toxic mold.
There is Stachybotrys, and Stachybotrys is really the most dangerous one.
Flooding from a drain pipe
I have to have my mask.
and a sewage pipe spawned the mold growth.
Everything we have is here, but they're all contaminated.
The Bierenbachs were forced to leave their home of 20 years. They claim the mold not only ruined them financially, but physically.
Dealing with headaches, bleeding of the nose, bleeding of the ear, and we are getting ill.
The Bierenbachs aren't alone.
Yeah, it's got a little mold going down on the bottom.
Industrial hygienist Ed Olmsted is responding to water leaks and reports of toxic mold just across town.
I get probably at least 2 calls a week on mold.
From New York's penthouses to the California hills, mold doesn't discriminate. Hollywood celebrities, including Erin Brockovich and Ed McMahon, have filed lawsuits claiming mold infiltrated their homes and made them sick.
This specifically is Stachybotrys.
Dr. Dor Dearborn has been studying Stachybotrys and mold-related symptoms since 1993.
It's like having a bad cold. It just doesn't go away.
Dearborn first recognized there may be a connection.
I mean, look at your hands.
When a number of infants showing signs of bleeding in the lungs were admitted to his Cleveland hospital.
These were young infants who, in the process of having trouble breathing, were then coughing blood.
All of these inner-city children had one thing in common. Their homes all tested positive for the toxic mold Stachybotrys. Of the 47 infants he studied, 16 died. Dearborn is confident a direct link exists between Stachybotrys and the illness he discovered in Ohio. But the Centers for Disease Control refused to back up his findings.
What the health effects are and how much mold it takes to produce those health effects, that's what we don't know.
Dearborn advises anyone living in a mold-infested environment to make sure it is cleaned correctly. If not, you may have to do what this California couple did. Donate their house to the local fire department for training.
The only specific treatment is to stop the exposure and to get out.
But despite the advice,
We want to get back here and live here. This is for us, our home.
the Bierenbachs will continue to fight to get their apartment properly cleaned. By the way, the cleanup began 1.5 years ago. In New York, I'm Jim Axelrod for Eye on America.
It was a towering eyeful in San Francisco Bay this morning. Huge 220-foot-tall cargo cranes made in China made it under the San Francisco-Oakland Bay Bridge with just inches to spare. For maximum headroom, they floated them under the bridge at low tide to be delivered to their destination in Oakland, California.
Those speeding cameras, they're annoying, but there's something about them you need to know. Tomorrow, the results of an eye-opening new study on the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather.
Over the years, I've learned that when something works, you stick with it. There you go. After bypass surgery a few years ago, I needed to lower my cholesterol. My doctor told me about Zocor. He said Zocor, along with a healthy diet and exercise, could really lower my cholesterol. Okay, let's do it again. Taking Zocor every day has kept my cholesterol where it should be and significantly reduces the risk of heart attack among people with high cholesterol and heart disease. That's something to feel good about.
Zocor is a prescription medication and is not for everyone, including women who are nursing, pregnant, or may become pregnant, or people with liver problems. Your doctor may do blood tests to check for liver problems because serious side effects can result. Tell your doctor about any muscle pain or weakness you experience and about any medicines you are taking.
Good job! When diet and exercise aren't enough, ask your doctor about Zocor. Take care of yourself. It's your future. Be there.
Wish your dentures were this comfortable? Bob's Denture Adhesive is C-Bond, a thin, soft wafer that clings wall-to-wall with 3 adhesives. No gaps, no ooze. C-Bond. Buy it for whole.
Love it for comfort.
Imagine me and you. You two were meant for each other. Luscious lobster and succulent shrimp. Together for a limited time and priced at just $12.99. Only at Red Lobster. Go overboard.
When you have a laxative you can trust, you can relax without worrying when it'll work, where it'll work, or how it'll work. Maybe that's why more doctors recommend Dulcolax than any other overnight laxative. It's gentle enough for sensitive stomachs, yet strong enough for complete relief. Guaranteed. Relax. Trust Dulcolax. For overnight relief, guaranteed.
I don't have the greatest soil here, and the topsoil you buy isn't much better. But this is Miracle Grow garden soil. Premium organic materials plus Miracle Grow plant food mixed in. Look at the difference it makes. Have you used Miracle Grow lately?
Oh. What's the matter, honey? Oh, heartburn. I know just what you need.
Alka-Seltzer Heartburn Relief. Faster than Pepcid AC or the leading prescription. Alka-Seltzer Heartburn Relief.
President Bush met at the White House today with the man widely believed to be in line to be China's next leader, Vice President Hu Jintao. They discussed trade, the war on terror, and the touchy issues of Taiwan, China's human rights record, and Beijing's missile technology exports. The 56-year-old Hu is expected to succeed President Jiang Zemin next year. Today was May Day, once an occasion for military parades in Moscow and still a day for protest in Europe. Demonstrators from pro-labor and anti-globalization groups scuffled with police in London, while in Berlin, cars were torched and businesses looted. Riot police responded in Germany with water cannon. CBS's Richard Roth reports the day's biggest demonstrations were in France, where voters of all stripes were stirred to action by the recent success of a candidate on the extreme right.
It looked like Jean-Marie Le Pen's moment of glory on the streets of Paris, with 10,000 supporters cheering his vow to crack down on crime, curb immigration, and make patriotism a legal requirement.
And I think Jean-Marie Le Pen is the only political man, only candidate who can still save my country.
He's been convicted of racism and once called the Holocaust gas chambers just a detail of history. Since his upset strong showing in a preliminary vote for the presidency, opponents have been calling him a national embarrassment.
No, he's has God.
But while President Jacques Chirac is hardly adored and has been dogged by scandal and corruption charges, he's expected to easily retain his office. In the place that invented irony, a sign on the street today said, "Choose the crook, not the fascist," in Sunday's election.
Both sides have described it as a contest for the soul of France, an election that's defining not just French liberty, equality, and fraternity, but also French identity.
The French majority, more than 1 million demonstrating nationwide today, now say Le Pen's rise to prominence was an aberration they're about to correct.
I'm here because I'm against the politics of Jean-Marie Le Pen.
I shall vote Chirac on Sunday.
With pleasure?
Not with pleasure, no, but definitely without any hesitation.
Analysts here say voter apathy let Le Pen slip into prominence, where he became a national alarm clock.
This man is a modern post-fascist, but he's waking France up.
That could make his legacy. Rising crime and a worry that immigrants are changing the nation's identity resonate now with right-wing movements throughout Europe. Le Pen's issues aren't all unreasonable, says a longtime opponent, but his answers are all wrong. Richard Roth, CBS News, Paris.
You want the very best for your best friends. Proper nutrition, regular exercise. And when it comes to monthly heartworm, you can forget it. Now there's Pro Heart 6. Just one dose from your veterinarian protects against heartworm disease for 6 months. Use with caution in sick, debilitated, or underweight animals. Side effects may include mild swelling or itching at the injection site. Forget monthly heartworm. Remember ProHeart 6, the 6-month preventative, only from your veterinarian. When diet and exercise fail, adding Lipitor can help lower your total cholesterol 29 to 45%. Lipitor is not for everyone, including people with liver disease or possible liver problems, and women who are nursing, pregnant, or may become pregnant. Simple blood tests are needed to check for liver problems. Tell your doctor about other medications you are taking, or if you experience muscle pain or weakness, as they may be a sign of serious side effects. 1 in 5 people has high cholesterol. Millions need treatment. For less cholesterol, ask your doctor if Lipitor is right for you.
Heartburn?
Yeah. Any of you not hard or chalky? No.
I'm not.
New Maalox Soft Chews.
I'm soft and chewy. Not hard and chalky.
Softy. Try fast new Maalox Soft Chews.
Ooh, scary. Yeah, and I bet they didn't have that insurance back then. What?
Aflac.
It gives your mommy money if she's sick and can't work. What does?
Aflac.
Pay attention. To what?
Aflac.
Aflac. Ask about it at work.
Why do I rent from Enterprise? For more cargo room. More people room. Or more headroom. Enterprise. So easy it's like having a second car. Or third.
Pick Enterprise.
Police issue a warning to downtown restaurants why they need to keep a closer eye on your belongings at 6.
Finally tonight, airport security screeners since 9/11 have been confiscating anything that might be used as a weapon. Now the Transportation Security Administration has put out an updated list of what you may and may not carry onto a plane. Nail clippers are permitted now, along with nail files, tweezers, and safety razors. But in case it's not obvious, you may not board a plane carrying, among other things, brass knuckles, a bullwhip, a cattle prod, a cricket bat, dynamite, a hand grenade, a pool cue, road flares, a spear gun, a portable power saw, or a hockey stick. The items will be confiscated, you won't get them back, and you could face fines or criminal penalties. That's part of our world. There's more CBS News ahead tonight, beginning with 60 Minutes 2. We'll have the story of a heretofore secret military operation to capture a top terrorist, and we'll take a first-hand look at the remarkable transformation at Ground Zero. Plus, what's better than listening to Pavarotti? Watching him with Mike Wallace.
From cleavage to come-ons, today's teen idols are more sexualized than ever. What kind of message are they sending America's children? Teen Idols, tonight on 48 Hours.
For the CBS Evening News, Dan Rather reporting. I'll see you again soon.
For news 24 hours a day, CBS.com on the internet and on our interactive partner, America Online, at keyword CBS News.
Speeding cameras, the results of an eye-opening new study tomorrow. Experience CBS News.
Now, with Jeff Gianola and Mike Donahue, this is KOIN 6 News at 6.
Hundreds of May Day demonstrators carry their messages through the streets of Portland.
Is it a cop cover-up tonight? Why a grand jury says the Portland police investigation of their own may have been less than forthcoming.
Hold on to your bag. A purse-snatching ring is working downtown Portland.
And we'll tell you what's behind this deadly quote. Welcome to KOIN 6 News, everyone. I'm Jeff Gianola.
And I'm Mike Donahue.
A major blow to the Portland Police Bureau. A Multnomah County grand jury accuses some police officers and supervisors of covering up a crime. KOIN 6's Lori Schilling has been following this major story and joins us live from the newsroom. Lori?
Jeff, yesterday a grand...
Debbie Reynolds.
Tomorrow on AM Northwest.